Before dawn on May 26, 2018, a routine check inside a boarding school residence in South Africa turned into a scene of profound shock. A dormitory supervisor, making her early morning rounds, noticed something out of place in the stairwell of the girls' building. Moments later, she discovered the body of 17-year-old Charnel Hogg, suspended near the railing. Within minutes, a second grim discovery followed. In a nearby bathroom, the body of her closest friend, Mara Njora, was found. At first glance, the circumstances suggested a devastating double suicide. But as investigators began examining the scene more closely, subtle details emerged that challenged this initial assumption. Inconsistencies in the physical evidence and the timeline pointed toward a far more complex and disturbing reality. What began as an apparent tragedy soon unfolded into a meticulous criminal investigation, exposing hidden tensions, psychological manipulation, and a pattern of escalating threats that had been building for months. Charnel Hogg grew up on a cattle farm near Delarville, a small rural town in South Africa's northwest province. She lived with her father, Ronnie, her stepmother, Anna, and Anna's son, Eston, whom she considered her brother. After her parents divorced, both maintained an amicable relationship, allowing Charnel to divide her time between households. Her father managed a farm, while her mother, Sonia, worked at a tourism lodge in a nearby resort area. Before enrolling at Stella Boarding School, Charnel spent most of her time moving between the two homes, maintaining close relationships with both parents. That rhythm shifted once she began living at the boarding school. The distance from her family, combined with the independence of dormitory life, marked a major transition. It was during this period that her childhood friendship with Mara Njora was unexpectedly renewed. The two girls had been inseparable in their early years, but had drifted apart when Charnel moved away. Years later, fate reunited them at Stella, where both entered the 8th grade and quickly reestablished their bond. Their families shared long-standing ties. Mara's mother, Ryanette, had performed music at Charnel's parents' wedding, and both families regularly crossed paths through church and community events. Rooted in farming traditions, they lived in a region shaped by agriculture, where generations of Afrikaner families maintained a strong cultural identity. This shared background created a sense of continuity and familiarity that anchored both households. At school, Charnel and Mara became inseparable once more. They shared a dorm room and spent nearly all their free time together. Both loved animals and horseback riding, and often dreamed about future careers connected to their passions. Charnel had a growing interest in photography, while her father believed she had the potential to pursue modeling. Mara, academically gifted with a strong aptitude for science and mathematics, aspired to become a veterinarian, inspired by her upbringing on her family's farm near Rieberg. Mara lived with her parents, Stefan and Ryanette, and her older sister Rianne. Stefan, a respected drilling specialist, shared a particularly close bond with Mara, affectionately referring to her by a childhood nickname that reflected her thoughtful nature. Their home life appeared stable and nurturing, and the family was well regarded within their community. For a time, Charnel's life at Stella seemed balanced and promising. But in early 2017, a new presence entered her world. During a school event, she met Xander, an 18-year-old former student who had recently graduated. Athletic, confident, and charismatic, he immediately stood out, though no longer enrolled. He frequently visited the area and maintained close ties to the school community. Xander came from a fractured family background. His parents, Monty and Mercia, had divorced during his childhood. He lived primarily with his father on a farm roughly 50 miles from Stella, while his relationship with his mother remained more distant. Mercia, who had endured a difficult pregnancy and early health challenges with her son, was deeply protective of him. Monty, a former police officer, raised Xander with strict discipline, emphasizing physical endurance, hunting, and outdoor pursuits. Throughout his school years, Xander gained recognition as a talented rugby player, but his volatile temperament frequently led to disciplinary issues. Teachers described recurring conflicts, and his parents were often called in to address his behavior. While Mercia tended to excuse his outbursts, Monty enforced rigid expectations. After graduating, Xander chose not to pursue further education, instead working on the family farm. His online presence was limited, dominated by images related to hunting and firearms, reflecting his interests. Charnel was drawn to Xander's outward confidence and physical presence. Their relationship developed quickly, marked by intense attention and early emotional intensity. He appeared devoted, eager to impress both Charnel and her family. When he met her father, Ronnie, he offered to help with farm work, and the shared agricultural background helped establish trust. For a time, the relationship seemed stable. However, subtle warning signs soon emerged. Xander displayed a growing need for control, initially framed as concern. He questioned Charnel about her whereabouts and friendships, gradually demanding access to her phone and social media accounts. Over time, his jealousy escalated into monitoring and restrictions that began to isolate her from friends, including Mara. As months passed, Mara noticed a marked change in Charnel's behavior. Their frequent conversations diminished, and excuses replaced their usual closeness. When Mara attempted to address the situation, Charnel insisted everything was fine, yet her social circle steadily narrowed and her independence faded. The situation intensified during preparations for the school prom. Xander insisted on approving Charnel's dress, makeup, and hairstyle, exerting direct control over her appearance. Though unsettled, Charnel complied to avoid conflict. She confided in a few friends that she felt uneasy, but underestimated the seriousness of the situation. Xander's interference extended into her friendships and family interactions. He openly expressed hostility toward anyone he believed threatened his influence. Arguments became more frequent and emotionally charged. Over time, Charnel withdrew further, attempting to maintain peace by minimizing her interactions with others. By late 2017, concerns among her family and friends deepened. Subtle changes in her demeanor became apparent. She appeared less confident and increasingly anxious. While her parents attributed this to academic pressure, Mara recognized a deeper problem and continued urging her friend to reconsider the relationship. In January 2018, Charnel decided to end the relationship. The choice followed months of emotional strain and escalating control. Her friends and family were aware of frequent confrontations, emotional manipulation, and episodes in which Xander asserted physical dominance. The breakup triggered an extreme reaction. Xander sent repeated messages threatening self-harm, framing his distress as her responsibility. Mara soon became a target of his hostility. He accused her of influencing Charnel's decision and sent threatening messages. Alarmed, Mara confided in her father, Stefan, who confronted Xander and demanded an end to the harassment. Though the messages slowed, the tension remained. In the months that followed, Charnel grew closer to Brandon Victor, a longtime friend known for his kindness and athletic achievements. Their bond gradually deepened into a private romantic relationship. Aware of Xander's fixation, they kept their involvement discreet, avoiding public attention. Despite the breakup, Xander continued monitoring Charnel's movements, appearing unexpectedly at familiar locations and sending persistent messages. By May 2018, the situation had become increasingly volatile. Shortly before midnight on May 25th, Brandon secretly entered the girls' dormitory to spend time with Charnel and Mara. They talked quietly, attempting to ease Charnel's anxiety over ongoing threats. Around 1 a.m., Charnel received a call from Xander. She placed the phone on speaker so Brandon and Mara could hear. At first, Xander spoke calmly, asking her to meet him outside. When she refused, his tone shifted sharply, ending with a warning that she would regret the night's outcome. Shaken, Charnel urged Brandon to leave to avoid disciplinary consequences. Around 2 a.m., he returned to the boys' dormitory. It was the last time he saw either girl alive. Just hours later, at approximately 4:17 a.m., Charnel's mother, Sonia, awoke to a text message that read, "Mom, I just want to say I love you and I'm sorry." The wording and spelling immediately alarmed her. Repeated calls went unanswered. Ronnie soon discovered two unsettling messages from his daughter, including one cryptic note stating that she and Mara were leaving. By 6 a.m., the dormitory supervisor made the tragic discovery in the stairwell. Police were called, and the campus descended into chaos. Charnel was found suspended from the railing, while Mara lay lifeless in the bathroom with a strap secured around her neck. The physical evidence did not align with typical suicide patterns, raising immediate suspicion. As investigators processed the scene, both families arrived, overwhelmed by grief. Mara's father, Stefan, openly accused Xander of being convinced the deaths were not accidental. Private investigator Chris Sanders was contacted and began interviewing key witnesses. Brandon disclosed a threatening phone call, and Xander's continued fixation. Other students confirmed ongoing harassment. Fingerprints recovered from the rope and backpack strap became critical evidence. Xander soon emerged as the primary suspect. Later that day, Stefan confronted Xander at his family farm. The confrontation escalated until Sanders intervened, persuading Xander to accompany him for questioning. During the drive, persistent questioning led to a confession. Xander admitted to killing Charnel out of jealousy and murdering Mara to eliminate a witness. He described his plan to stage the deaths as suicides. At the police station, Xander repeated his confession. Investigators uncovered extensive digital evidence documenting his obsession, including messages, photos, and journal entries. Forensic findings supported his account. During the trial in March 2019, testimony revealed the extent of his psychological instability. A key witness, Anastasia Fesser, recounted a call in which Xander had expressed intent to prevent Charnel from living without him. Brandon's testimony detailed the final night and chilling phone call. Psychological evaluations characterized Xander as emotionally volatile, consumed by control and jealousy. He was convicted and sentenced to 2 life terms. While his father initially acknowledged the verdict, appeals followed. Charnel and Mara were laid to rest side by side, honoring the bond that had defined their lives. Their story stands as a sobering reminder of the dangers of unchecked control and emotional manipulation, and the devastating consequences that can unfold when warning signs are overlooked.